The birth of the Japanese state did not happen overnight. It was forged through centuries of conflict, diplomacy, and political centralization. At the heart of this transformation was the Yamato clan, a powerful ruling family that would lay the foundations for the first centralized government in Japan. But how did they rise to dominate the archipelago? And who were the first rulers of what would become the Japanese imperial line? The Yamato state began its rise during the Kofun period, a time of rapid social and technological change. Named after the distinctive burial mounds constructed for the elite, this era saw the emergence of powerful regional rulers who controlled vast tracts of land and commanded large warrior groups. These early leaders formed alliances and waged wars, each seeking dominance over the fragmented landscape. The Yamato clan, based in what is now Nara Prefecture, distinguished itself through superior organization and military strength. Unlike smaller rival clans, they formed an early form of centralized governance, incorporating allied and subjugated groups into their expanding political network. This network was not just military but also economic, as the Yamato controlled key trade routes and resources, such as iron and rice, which were essential for sustaining their growing influence. The Yamato's military advantage was partly due to their access to iron weapons and advanced armor, which they acquired through trade with the Korean Peninsula and China. The use of advanced metallurgy allowed Yamato warriors to overpower neighboring clans and enforce their rule. Iron tools and weapons were not just symbols of power, they were practical tools that transformed agriculture and warfare. The introduction of iron plows, for example, allowed for more efficient farming, which in turn supported larger populations and more complex societies. This technological edge gave the Yamato clan a significant advantage over their rivals. Historical records suggest that by the late 4th century, the Yamato had established dominance over much of central Honshu. The Chinese text Song Shu mentions a Japanese ruler referred to as the King of Wa, who sent envoys to China seeking recognition and military support. This suggests that the Yamato were already engaging in diplomacy with powerful neighbors to secure their authority. The Yamato also adopted military strategies and technologies from the Korean Peninsula, such as horse riding and advanced fortification techniques. These innovations further solidified their military dominance and allowed them to project power across the archipelago. The Yamato clan's strategy extended beyond military conquest. They absorbed rival clans into a hierarchical structure, placing them under their authority while allowing them to retain local influence. This system, known as the Uji Kabeni system, assigned noble titles based on loyalty and service to the Yamato court. The Uji were powerful clans that pledged allegiance to the Yamato, while the Kabene were hereditary titles that denoted their rank and role within the Yamato hierarchy. This system allowed the Yamato to maintain control over a vast and diverse territory without directly administering every region. They also established a system of regional governors, known as Kuni no Miyatsuko, who were responsible for overseeing local affairs on behalf of the central government. This early form of bureaucracy laid the groundwork for a more centralized state and ensured their authority extended far beyond their immediate territory. One of the earliest rulers associated with the Yamato state is Emperor Keitai, 507 to 531 CE, who is considered by some scholars to be the first historical emperor. However, evidence suggests that an earlier lineage of Yamato rulers existed, though their exact identities remain debated. The Kojiki and Nihon Shoki, Japan's earliest historical chronicles, list figures such as Emperor Sujin, ER late 3rd, early 4th century, as early centralizing rulers. While these accounts are often intertwined with myth, they reflect the Yamato's efforts to legitimize their rule by tracing their lineage to divine origins. Chinese sources from the 3rd century mention a powerful queen named Himiko, who ruled over a confederation of clans in what is now Japan. While Himiko's exact relationship to the Yamato state is uncertain, some scholars believe she may have been a predecessor to Yamato consolidation. Her reign highlights the role of women in early Japanese politics and the complex interplay of power and diplomacy in the region. The Yamato rulers understood that diplomacy was just as important as warfare. They maintained close ties with the Korean kingdoms of Baekje and Silla, receiving technological advancements, military support, and cultural influences. These exchanges helped shape early Yamato governance, including the introduction of Chinese writing, Buddhist thought, and centralized administration. The Yamato also sent envoys to China, seeking recognition and legitimacy from the powerful Chinese court. These missions, known as kantoshi, were not just diplomatic. They were also opportunities to learn from China's advanced civilization. The Yamato adopted Chinese administrative practices, legal codes, and architectural styles which further strengthened their state. Archaeological discoveries confirm the deep connections between the Yamato state and mainland Asia. For example, artifacts such as bronze mirrors, weapons, and pottery found in Kofun tombs bear striking similarities to those from Korea and China. These interactions played a crucial role in Japan's political and technological evolution. One of the most enduring legacies of the Yamato period is its monumental burial mounds, known as Kofun. These massive structures house the remains of Yamato elites, signifying their wealth and authority. The largest of these, the Daisen Kofun in Osaka, is attributed to Emperor Nintoku and measures nearly 500 meters in length. Kofun tombs were not just burial sites, they were political statements reinforcing the ruler's divine and earthly power. The construction of these tombs required immense resources and labor, demonstrating the Yamato's ability to mobilize and control large populations. The tombs were often filled with grave goods, such as weapons, jewelry, and pottery, which reflected the status and achievements of the deceased. These artifacts provide valuable insights into the material culture and social hierarchy of the Yamato state. Religion played a crucial role in legitimizing Yamato rule. The Yamato clan embraced Shinto practices, which centered on the worship of kami, or spirits, associated with natural elements and ancestral lineages. By claiming descent from the sun goddess Amaterasu, the Yamato rulers positioned themselves as divine intermediaries, linking their authority to the spiritual realm. Rituals and ceremonies were integral to maintaining this connection. The Yamato court conducted regular ceremonies to honor the kami, ensuring the prosperity and stability of the state. These rituals were not just spiritual, they were also political tools, reinforcing the ruler's legitimacy and unifying the people under a shared cultural identity. The Yamato state's economic power was built on agriculture, particularly rice cultivation. The introduction of wet rice farming techniques from mainland Asia allowed for higher yields, supporting larger populations and more complex societies. Earlier, we mentioned their trade routes with Korea and China, and the exchange of goods. These exchanges not only enriched the Yamato but also facilitated the transfer of technology and cultural practices, further strengthening their state. One of the most prominent examples of this is Buddhism. During the 6th century, Buddhism began to spread to Japan from Korea and China. The Yamato rulers recognized the potential of Buddhism to reinforce their authority and adopted it as a state religion. Buddhist temples were constructed, and monks were invited to the Yamato court to teach the new faith. The introduction of Buddhism brought significant cultural and political changes. Buddhist art and architecture flourished, and the religion's emphasis on centralized authority aligned with the Yamato's goals of political consolidation. The title emperor evolved over time, reflecting the Yamato ruler's growing authority. Early Yamato leaders were referred to as kings or chiefs, but by the 6th century they began to adopt the title of Tenno, or heavenly sovereign, to emphasize their divine right to rule. This shift in terminology reflected the Yamato's efforts to centralize power and legitimize their rule. The imperial title became a symbol of unity, linking the ruler to both the spiritual and political realms, and reinforcing the Yamato's position as the dominant power in Japan. The rise of the Yamato clan marked the beginning of Japan as a centralized state. Their military conquests, political strategies, and diplomatic maneuvers established the framework for future Japanese governance. Although their rule evolved over centuries, the Yamato lineage remains unbroken, with Japan's current imperial family tracing its origins back to this foundational era. Through war, alliances, and governance, the Yamato state became the cornerstone of Japanese civilization. Their legacy is evident in Japan's political institutions, cultural traditions, and historical identity. And as we look back at their rise, we see not just the story of a single clan, but the birth of a nation. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more Japanopedia content. See you in the next one.